Hey everybody, welcome to Chill and Chat, episode 3. If you're wondering where is episode 2, episode 2 is located on our Instagram at unveil.story. We had a special guest, Braxton Powell, doing our Chill and Chat segment where he would just answer some questions that we had asked or that you guys had asked on our social media page. And in this episode, I'm here. I've got a lot of equipment here just because some of the questions related to equipment. But I'm here just to answer some questions to the best of my ability. I don't profess to be the end-all be-all when it comes to a creative process, photography, videography, marketing, production. There's guys that are doing it that are way better than me. But I'm willing to share my knowledge and hopefully help somebody along the way. So let's just kind of go through these. So we have 2 questions from Brooke Ellis, and I think they're 2 really good questions, stuff that I feel like if you have a small budget, you can accomplish very easily. The first one is, what lens would you prefer for a small church? It doesn't really matter your church size, to be honest. You can be a big church, you can be a tiny church of 10 to 15. Regardless of the size of your church, there is one lens that you need to have, and it is a little bit pricey depending on which version of this lens that you get, but it is the 24 to 70. Let's go ahead and see if it'll catch the focus there. The 24 to 70, this is my all-time favorite lens. It's the only lens that I use, except for the one that's on my camera right now, which is a 16 to 35. I use that lens primarily for this type of stuff where I really need a super wide shot, but the 24 to 70 is your go-to lens. It has a 2.8 aperture, which is what I'd recommend you get. You have your wide focal length, and then you have kind of your more zoomed in 70 millimeters, which isn't crazy zoomed, but it's enough to get you everything that you could need. The other lens that I recommend if you already have a 24 to 70 is your 70 to 200. Now this lens is definitely more pricey, depending on which version that you get again, but I would recommend a 2.8. It'd probably be the best version you could get. And the newest one that has internal stabilization or good internal stabilization. This isn't the newest. It's not even the best. I have a Canon R6 Mark II and I have no RF lenses. They are too expensive and I had a lot of EF glass already. So this is the 70 to 200 2.8 second edition. So this is the second version of this lens. But this again would be my second pick for the top lenses that you should have in your bag. 24 to 70 would be my first pick, and then your 70 to 200. Perfect for events, perfect for any type of function, anything that you might be doing where you need to be run and gun. Maybe you're capturing both photo and video. These are the most versatile lenses that you could have in your bag. Canon did just come out with a 24 to 105, which is $3,000. So I do not recommend, if you don't have a $3,000 budget just for a lens, I don't recommend that lens. You can pick these up used. This is a Tamron. This isn't even a Canon brand. This is Tamron with an EF mount. This is Canon, so this one is a little bit pricier, but it's still within, a good price range. I like Tamron. They have great IBIS, and this was like $900 used. So that's what I'd recommend. But if you can afford the 24 to 105, get that, because it'll do everything you need it to do. Going over 105 in terms of zooming, it's going to be, you might do it, but you probably won't do it too often. So it's just the perfect range for if you're vlogging, if you're capturing quick stuff, if you're taking photos, whatever it might be. But then the second question that she had was, what mics do you use for interviews? Right now I'm using a Rode NTG2. You don't need to use that at all. You can use something as simple as this, the DJI mics. Now, these are pretty legit. Let's do some ASMR here. That's so dumb. These are pretty legit. But the big thing with audio is to make sure that whatever you're doing, that it's clear. Whatever you're doing, that it is not muffled, not peaking. You want to make sure that your levels are good, which, whatever, that's all like elementary stuff. But if you're just slapping a mic on top of your camera and then you're just trying to mix that audio in post, you're going to have such a hard time. So, if you're not willing to let your mic be seen in the shot, something that is slim, small, like a lav, getting one of these little portable mics and then grabbing just the lav mic and clipping it onto somebody's shirt or underneath their shirt, whatever it might be. If you can minimize their movements, that might be a good option. But something like this, the NTG2, where you can put it up on a boom pole and then just kind of hang it down, maybe, I don't even know. Some people say 1 foot, 2 feet. I say as close as you can get without it being in front or without it being in frame, and then just slightly angled towards their chest. That is going to be the best bet with getting clear audio and then being able to mix it in post. Now, the other thing, this gets really nerdy, is making sure that you're recording at enough hertz. I like to record 144, 148 hertz. I'm not an audio guy, so I'm not going to pretend to know all the audio things. I was watching a video on YouTube of this filmmaker. I remember her name was like Natalie or something, but she was being interviewed about this film that she had made and put on YouTube. And the film was incredible. It was like about her life, and it was just really, really good. The shots were amazing. And as she was talking about like the technical stuff, I realized she doesn't know a lot technically about cameras. She doesn't really know a whole lot technically about filmmaking or whatever, but she knew composition, she knew colors, she knew framing, and she knew how to tell a story. And the audio that she got, it was just like recorded on her phone or just recorded in camera or whatever. Nothing was like professional. This is all overkill. And so if you're just into like being able to tell a story, just wanting to be creative, get out of your head about needing all the right equipment. Just kind of use what you have, but focus on the creative aspect of it, not the equipment aspect of it. Just focus on the creativity side and allow your creativity to flow through the stuff that you have. She had no lights and she bought a sunset lamp off of Amazon and used the sunset lamp for all of her lighting. That's crazy. Or just she shot through windows and just allowed the natural light. But I have all these lights and I'm like, oh man, I'm struggling to think of like what to make creatively. You don't really need all the stuff. Sometimes if you just get rid of the technical side of things, you can actually be more creative. I don't know how that works, but that's just, maybe there's a block there. Anyways, we're off topic. Mics I use for interviews are this NTG and then my DJI mic. I'll hang it in front of the subject, and then sometimes I'll mic up my second camera or even just my first camera just to have like a second set of audio just in case one of these fails. Cool. How many times? Brooke. It says on here your name is Brookie, but I'm gonna assume it's Brooke. I'm not sure though. I hope that answers your questions. Let's see what this person's name is. It's MEI Faith C. I'm not sure what your name is, and I can't click your profile because I'm just looking at the question, but it says, any tips on how to make videos more cinematic? That's like, I feel like that's actually a common thing. Everybody wants their videos to look more cinematic. Really practical stuff is get a tripod, lock off your shots. Gimbals don't necessarily make things more cinematic. Super smooth motion doesn't necessarily make things more cinematic. Sometimes just a static camera shot like this makes things more cinematic. Allow the frame to move rather than the actual camera to move. Another thing is sound design makes things cinematic. So if you have good sound design, I would recommend go ahead and just pay a monthly subscription for Artlist, Epidemic, Soundstripe, one of these Envato Elements, one of these subscription services where you can get sound effects and you can get good music. That's like licensed, free to use, and then explore that within your videos that you're making. In terms of just like trying to make something more cinematic, is just focus on the story. Don't be so caught up in the technicalities of things. Just focus on telling a story. A lot of times, something that is more cinematic is something that's less technical. You'll notice that in like a documentary, something that's more docu-style it feels more cinematic. It feels more emotional. I even think we've kind of drifted away from that word cinematic. I don't even really know if we know what that means. I think we attach a definition to a feeling rather than an actual framing. But if you're thinking like a movie, how do I make this look like a movie? Then lock off your shots. Don't always try to have a smooth gimbal shot. Maybe go handheld sometimes. Shoot at 24 frames, edit at 24 frames, export at 24 frames. That will make it cinematic 10 times out of 10. Have good audio, whether it's sound effects, whether it's the miking. Also include audio. If you are filming on a street, filming people talking, include the raw audio. And if it's not the main audio that's a part of your video, just kind of lower it down, but have it there in the background. That makes everything feel more full, feel more cinematic. How could I be a photographer for big church events like youth conference and or NAYC? All right. Another common question that I've heard a lot. If you want to do anything that is outside of your district, if you're wanting to film or do photos or run social media outside of your district and you haven't already served locally in your district, it's most likely not going to happen. And I don't say that rudely. I say like serve where you are and do a really good job where you are. Like make y'all stuff pop off. People take notice of that. If, whatever district in wherever is blowing up on social media and their stuff is looking great and their photos are looking amazing and their videos are really popping off, you'll be seen by the people who make those decisions. And then they'll say, oh, we got to have this person out because they're obviously doing something right. That's the best way to get something done, is just to work really hard within the confinements of where you are. And then build relationships. Make sure that you're constantly building those relationships. Talk to the people that are a part of those decisions. And not politicking, but genuinely just building a relationship with those people. Because if nobody knows who you are, then more than likely you're not going to get a phone call, because who would we call if we don't know you? So that's like super practical of how to like get involved with that type of stuff. But that's also just not the end all be all. And I feel like I have to say that because that's really not the pinnacle of creativity, is being able to do these events. It's really awesome when you get to do them and it's a great opportunity. But probably what's more fulfilling is just doing a really good job where you are and being the best where you are and making your local stuff go crazy. That would be my advice to you, is just focus on your local stuff, whether it's your local church or your local district. Focus on that and make that stuff look really, really good. What camera should I get? This one. This is the Canon R6. It's the first version, or you can get the other one that I'm using right now to film, the Mark II. I love the R6s. I think that it's a perfect camera. I think that it's perfectly priced for what it delivers. I think that the R6 II has solved a lot of issues that the R6 I had, but the issues weren't even that crazy. I say if you're just trying to have really good looking stuff for not a crazy price point, the R6 series is one of the top, and I would recommend the R6 II. But if you don't want to spend that much, then just get the R6 I. I have the battery grip on it right now. This is my secondary. So if I'm shooting a wedding or an event, I keep this locked on either vlog mode or locked on photo mode. And this is what I go crazy with as my secondary. Or I just give this to my second shooter. Ooh, this is a good question. How did I get started? That might be a different video. I think I'll save that one for a different video. My number one photography tip. Okay, cool. This will be what we end on. My number one, let me get a water. All right, it's a 20-minute video that I have to edit down now. Okay, so actually I have a lot to say on this one. So I do a lot of weddings, and I love shooting weddings, whether it's photo or video. I love shooting weddings. And the number one reason why is because it's already a structured day. The story is already unfolding in front of you. It's just now your job to capture it in the best way possible. And the way that I do it personally is I'm an extroverted, outgoing person, and I love people. I love people, and I love love, and I love weddings, and I love how it makes everybody feel, and it's just such an exciting moment. And I capitalize on my energy in that moment to be able to create beautiful, memorable moments. Whether it's with the couple when I'm interviewing them and I'm prompting them with questions and I'm just being personable and I'm just enjoying the moment, whatever. And this would be like specifically like when I'm doing video, but for photography, if I'm posing them, I'm joking around with them, I'm having fun, I'm giving them prompts, but I'm not making it weird and I'm not being all stiff and I'm not too focused on my settings. I make sure, my stuff is set how I need it to be. And then I'm just in the moment. I'm not even looking at my camera. I'm just taking these photos. I'm just getting the stuff that I need to get. And I'm not focused on my camera. I'm with the couple. That would be my top tip for like wedding photography. But if you're just doing any type of photography in general, it would be to look for the moment and compose your images correctly. Learn composition. Learn composition so well that you don't even have to look at your camera to know that your image is composed correctly. Know your equipment. And so, I can just stand on a street corner, pop out my screen, take one look at it, and then just immediately know exactly what I'm trying to do. I love parallel lines. I love things that are symmetrical. And so that's what I personally look for. I look for symmetry. And then within the symmetry, I try to create a moment there. So if I'm doing street photography, I look for symmetry. And then the life around it is what creates the scene. But the symmetry is what draws your eye. Photography term like leading lines. Look for the lines that lead on the grid, that bring your attention somewhere. That's my personal take on like architecture photography, nature photography. If you're just capturing street photography, or you're doing portraits with people, or you're doing family photos, again, focusing on the people rather than focusing on your camera and your shots. If you know your equipment and you're comfortable with what you're shooting with, then you shouldn't focus too much on what you're shooting with. Focus on the people that you're shooting. I've said the same thing like 10 times in 10 different ways, but I think you get the gist of it, is get out of the structure of the equipment and focus on the people. That is like, that right there, if everybody could do that, if everybody could just get out of their head and not, take a photo and then look back down to make sure it looks good, and then, all right, now can you guys and then like they're awkward because you're focused on the camera, and then you're awkward because you're focused on the camera. But if you're just like, all right, hey guys, I need you to, all right, put your arm around her, and I need you guys to smile. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, go ahead and smile. Oh yeah, that looks beautiful, amazing. All right, perfect. Now go ahead and give her a kiss. Oh yeah, that's awesome. That right there is way more engaging than you know what I'm saying? I am belaboring the point, but that is that would be like my number one photo tip, is all the things I just said. I think that's it. I think we'll sign off there. Thank you guys for watching. Chill and chat. I like to talk. I like to chat, and it is a little weird talking with nobody in the room. I prefer banter, prefer a back and forth, but it's okay. I'll get used to it, and we're going to be doing this more. We also have a special announcement coming up where probably this format is going to become more familiar, and I'm excited about what we're getting ready to release. And we've been, behind the scenes doing a lot of work to make sure this release is really good. So, anyways, I will be posting some of this on Instagram, and we'll talk again soon. Keep sending your questions. We love answering them. I have a lot that I didn't even get to, and so some of these I will come back and answer in a later video. Bye.